Hi, everybody. I have such a great guest today. Ken Schreiner is with me. Hello, hello. From Fort Lauderdale. You know, he plays Scott Baldwin on General Hospital, one of the legacy stars of the show. Ken, it's great to see you. I'm so glad we connected virtually.
Thank you, Michael. And yes, I'm coming to you live. You can recognize the pink flamingos and the tropical. Even my cufflinks are anchors. If you can see on my shirt, I got a
Yes, there we go.
cufflink. See, everything is nautical in Fort Lauderdale.
It's
all boats. Yes.
Well, I wanted to start by saying I have to say on recent episodes of the show on General Hospital, you know, Scott always breaks our hearts, you know, when he gets an emotional scene to play.
Right.
And it was so tough seeing him so shook by the, you know, death of his son, Franco. And, you know, you had that lovely scene with Genie Francis, because you two are always great together.
Right.
What can you say about when you found out they were killing Franco? I know Roger's coming back to the show, but they killed the character, and how you saw Scott react to that.
Well, no, they, you know, Frank said, we're killing Franco. And I said, what? And then he said, no, Roger's coming back though. And I thought, well, okay. And then, you know, I kind of went through this when I had that other kid that played my son, Josh Duhan, and all of a sudden they just killed him. And, you know, I said, oh, well, I had about 3 months of good story fighting for who killed my son. So, you know, greedily, when he said we're killing off Franco but bringing Roger back, I said, well, that's good. I guess maybe it'll give me something to do, you know, in the long run, you know. But I would rather have had Franco around. I think that, you know, we had, you know, Roger is very fun to work with, and he's got a, you know, sense of humor and comedy. And I think the fans enjoyed our father and son exploits. And you know, it was nice to be a part of the Weber family. And there was, you know, Uncle Scott there hanging around, you know. But so I went from there. I said, well, okay, well, what's coming my way? So I didn't really know what I was going to get, you know, until the scripts arrived. The scene with Genie, about when she tells me that Franco's dead, we did it in one shot. And I wasn't even sure how I was going to play it, because the rehearsal, you wear a mask. So you have once they take the mask off, because the mask was cutting into my face when I was doing the scene, I had the mask upside down. So I said, oh, great. Now we're going to roll on this. And I still haven't really figured it out. But when you look into Genie Francis's eyes, and her and I, you know, all of a sudden there's 44 years of acting together, you know, it worked. You know, I didn't really know, but it just happened. It was like, if I did another take, it might have been a whole different scene. So, you know, I got to just bank on, you know, that we're all trained to do it in one take and hope for the best.
Yeah, it was really amazing. And it speaks to, you speak to the 44 years, you know, you and Genie have known each other, worked together. It kind of, you're right. Does it click right back when you work with her? Like, you know what she's going to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's not that we know what to do. It's just that it's comfortable. It's two eyes that you've looked into for many, many years. And, you know, she gives you back what you give her. So, you know, she's right there with you. And that's the beauty about soap operas. Unlike the movies where they might come around and now you got to make it up because there's no other actors with you, because they're standing behind the camera or they've gone home. So, you know, in soap operas, that's the beauty. It's like a play. If you go up on set and you watch them tape a scene, if you sit back, you could just be watching a stage play, because they're acting. Everybody's acting. If there's 5 people in the scene, they're all acting, you know, because that's the way it works. It's just you have these 5 cameras in your way. Otherwise, it would be a theater piece.
You know, when they did the scene where Scott, you know, she tells him and he reacts to that. Doesn't he also say, I've lost 3 other children? You know,
Yes.
which was heartbreaking for those who know the character. He's lost all these kids. So how does Scott, this must have been very devastating for him, right? I wish there would have been more scenes, is what I wish.
There could have been more. But, you know, with who, you know, but since I don't have a girlfriend on the show, I soon am coming up to have a girlfriend, but for now, there's nobody other than, and they played Serena, a couple of times back when we played the tribute to Peter Hansen when he passed away, and we had that show, and then she showed up. Now she wouldn't have shown up because she never even met Franco. So, plus she's in the Army, in the real Army. And so I don't know where I would have had any more, scenes. I had it with Laura, I had it with Elizabeth, and, and with Cameron. So I kind of got what I got, So,
Yeah. Yeah. Will you miss working with Roger if it isn't you guys together as father and son?
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, Roger and I would just run the lines downstairs, and I never knew what he was going to do, and I don't think he knew what I was going to do. And then we would roll tape, and either if it went in a version, if it went towards humor, he was right there. He could go. He went any way. It was like a very good tennis partner or a sparring partner. I mean, he could return any ad lib line. He could go with it, or vice versa. So I did enjoy working with Roger I think the whole father son dynamics worked because he, kind of came to me when he was in trouble, and it was like, oh brother, now what? So it was a different dynamic. I mean, I look back on the father and son stuff I played with Lee Baldwin when Scotty was so disruptive and out of control and was never the, I'm not the son you wanted. And, so it's now the shoes on the other foot. So I try to, of course I didn't have the commanding presence that Peter Hansen did, because he was, so solid, and, he was not, we were never playing humor. We were playing disappointment most of the time, that I was disappointing him, or, so our dynamic as father and son there was more humor there, maybe because we were closer to these in age. I mean, I had him very young, so that for it to even work, Heather and I had him when we were like 16 or something. So, so that's
when you think of Peter and Susan, you had such great TV parents, and
yes,
people, and I'll never forget how they did honor you when she passed away, and what they did. And remember when didn't they give you little moments? They gave you moments.
Well, they gave us all moments. They did a whole anniversary of, Gail.
Right.
Gail. So Gail had, everybody had a moment about Gail. Only I had really the moments about Peter, Laura, Scotty, and Serena and Lucy. So that was a different, salute to Peter Hansen, and then to Susan Brown. Yes, they gave him a nice. So hopefully they'll do something for John Riley, because he had such
exactly. And I was going to say, John was so great too. Did you have a good relationship with him?
Yes. He was great, but we always, it was funny because no matter he was going to end the scene, no matter what. If the scene ended on me saying, I got to go see Lee, and then he would just ad lib, yeah, you better do that. It's like he would never give up the tag, no matter what. He would
never give up the tag.
He would try and get that camera back on him no matter what. And we always used to make jokes, oh, John's going to do something. He's not giving up. He's not going to. So he was just as, hammy as the rest of us. And he was always fun. And, and he would go out after work. They'd all go out and have a couple of drinks and have fun, and, enjoyed the job they had.
Yeah, I mean, when you look back at the when Scott was the bad guy in the Luke and Laura relationship years ago, remember he interrupted the wedding and he came in to punch him. Do you miss that Scott, or do you like the Scott he is now as he's matured, or like where do you sit with it? Because you can play anything they give you and make it your own. So I don't know what you enjoy doing.
Well, that blunder I made of leaving General Hospital to go to Texas.
Texas
was, basically pushed me in a different direction. I mean, had I not done that, and had I not gone away, and had I not shown up, and now I'm the bad guy, I was the guy that was right from, that everybody, Laura wanted to be, the son of a town attorney. And it wasn't until I made that mistake, and a year later I came back and I was forced to be the bad guy. And, I ran with the ball, I came back bearded and causing trouble. And then, and any actor will tell you, it's much more fun being the bad guy than it is to be, the leading guy that's, but Tony got to pull it off in both areas. He was the bad guy and he still was the bad guy.
Right.
And,
Exactly.
so he stayed the bad guy and still, never lost his edge of, Luke Spencer is capable of just about anything. And so, yeah, but now that Scotty has transformed over the last 9 years I've been back on the show to, the relationship with Franco, a lot of attorney work, and a few, chasing Ava, and, a little stuff with Bobbie and Lucy and all of them. But he's not trying to win back Laura's heart. She's, married to Kevin, and, it's all goes on.
The women in his life, you mentioned Lucy, Bobbie, Laura, is there the ultimate love of his life? Is it Laura?
Well, that's hard to say. I think after Laura, it all fell apart. I think he had one more reprieve at love, and that was Dominique, and she died in his arms. So that was his other second big love. And after that, I think he said, it's now you get what you get. He was after just, the action. I don't think that he was ever going to fall again for anybody, or hasn't. So, that's never been. There's never been another love of his life come his way that he could say, this is it. Yeah, I was crazy for Ava, but she wouldn't give me the time of day.
I know.
So, well, she would give me the time of day, and
I'd say, hey, nice friend you are, Scott. Nice friend.
What a friend you are. Sleep on the couch. Yeah.
But now there's a possible budding romance with Obrecht, with Kathleen Gati.
Yes.
What did you think about them coming together and getting close? And were you like surprised, or like, oh, this makes sense?
No, I was actually, when we started our stuff in over there with Franco, and we were trying to get him fixed, and then of course the doctor, I killed the doctor, and then all of a sudden she's indebted and I'm indebted, and I didn't know where they were going with it, because I had no clue that the writers all of a sudden, I think, felt, well, I think there's something there, let's build on it. And they did, and that's what's coming up. All of a sudden, we're romantically involved, and that's where we've been playing it, that that we've been doing a lot of cooing over each other, and a lot of innuendos, and we've already there's a big night in the hotel room that we've already had, or at my apartment or her apartment or somewhere, so the hotel, her hotel. So it's building on that, and I'm trying to build on as well, keeping my relationship with the Weber family, just because Franco's gone, I mean, doesn't mean that I'm still not here for them. Cameron, I really like that kid, the William, the Lipton, that plays the part.
So
he's very fun to work with. He's got a wonderful sense of humor, and he's just a great guy. He's just really smart, talented, plays the hell out of the guitar and sings, and so I love working with especially Becky Herbst. I mean, she brings the game all the time, and she's really, I sometimes am in the scenes with her and I get mesmerized that she's, so in there. So, she's fun to work with. So, And Kathleen Gati, she really, you know, when she steps into Dr. Obrecht, she really steps in, you know. So she's not fooling around. I mean, you know, this is not the actress. This is now the whole character. You're getting that character.
Yeah. Do you think there's ulterior motives on both? You know, Scott has done a lot of things for ulterior motives too. Right. And so, and of course she does. So is this do you think it's purely romantic, or do you think they all have other motives going on?
I can't say what my motive would be, other than it was, you know, no, I don't know what she would be up to that I would be of any help to her. So I'm kind of rode myself into like, you know, the protector, her, you know, knight in shiny armor that's going to be there if I can finagle anything. And I'm that way with Elizabeth and everybody else. If there's some trouble coming up, you know, Scott Baldwin, the ambulance chasing attorney that's capable of, you know, who was once the DA, the ex-DA, the special prosecutor. I mean, I've been the DA numerous times, and I've also been, you know, the trial lawyer. So, you know, as I would say, he's top drawer.
Do you like the legalese when you have to do courtroom scenes?
You know, I do enjoy it because I'm such a huge fan. I still religiously watch Perry Mason, and I love good courtroom drama. If it's, you know, if it's really good, and I have no problem. Sometimes it gets very wordy and technical, and you can get yourself in trouble with, and they shoot it so fast. So you've got, you know, 60 pages of legal jargon, which can throw you a little bit, and you've got to do extra work to make sure that it's all those words come to you, because legal jargon doesn't just come to you. You know, you don't use those words. I'm not a real lawyer, you know, but I've had enough courtroom stuff over the 44 years I've been a lawyer. You know, I remember I was at Denny's when I was a kid, and there was a room full of real lawyers, and they came over and they said, you know what? We watched you on General Hospital become a lawyer in 2 episodes. I said, yeah, I know I did, didn't I? I said, you know how tough the bar is? And they were like, you know, because, you know, I said, yeah, I did. I went from, you know, law school to lawyer in 2 episodes. Now I'm a lawyer. Now I'm working for my father, you know? So, you know, that was I had a bad reaction from a bunch of lawyers once, but that
is amazing. That's a great story. You know, when you did Texas and As the World Turns and the other shows, were those good experiences, or did it never really match General Hospital?
One of the best years of my life was the year I spent on As the World Turns with, I was there 1 year, and they literally worked me 5 days a week. And I was like, this was 10 years, it was about 15 years ago. And I was living in Columbus Circle. I'd signed up to play what's her name's brother, Sarah Brown's brother. And then they liked it. And then they threw me to Martha Byrne. And Martha, Maura, and Michael Park, we all became very close friends and hung out. And I had a wonderful year there. That was the best year of my life because, you know, and I tried to not Scotty it up. I just tried to play this guy, Keith Morrissey, who was, you know, in love. We never knew whether I'm not sure I knew whether I was a good guy, a bad guy. And I spent some time with Michael Lowry a couple weeks ago, and he was there too. And he Les Sweeney, the bad guy. So he was fun too. So we had the time of our lives for that 1 year. And I have no regrets of ever being in that Brooklyn studio for the second time, because it wasn't a good time in Texas when I was in that studio in 1980, because I had made a giant mistake. As Texas went nowhere, General Hospital went this way, and there I was going, all people came up to me and they said was, when are you going back to General Hospital? So it was like, well, I shouldn't have left. That was a blunder, but nobody really, I don't think, watched Texas or cared about it, because, you know, I didn't know at the time that it was going to be put opposite General Hospital.
You did not know that?
No.
And you were Jeb Hampton?
Yes, Jeb Hampton.
Jeb Hampton.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you ever think to yourself, here we are all these years later, did you think it would last this long on GH now? That you're such a part of the fabric and history of the show? Like, you are like an iconic person with GH, you know?
Well, the Scotty Baldwin is the longest running character in the history of soap operas right now, because he theoretically started in 1964.
He was little. Yeah.
With a little Whitaker kid, the kid from Family Affair. And so I picked up Scotty in 77, but the character outlasts any character that's ever been on daytime television, because he's got close to 50 years of a still running character in the soap opera world. And I've got, I'm probably narrowing in, when I hit my anniversary, August 2nd, I'll have 44 years of playing this guy. And Genie's got, she was there maybe 6 months ahead of me. So she already hit 44 years. So, and then Leslie Charlson, and then Jackie Zeman, and it'll go down the ladder. But, Genie has the top. I'm second. And then,
When you look at the whole Gloria Monty time of the show, and now how it is now with Frank Valentini, and how the show's evolved, what do you think of back then when you were with Gloria, and now what it's like in 2021 under Frank? Like, what do you think of the whole way everything is evolved?
Well, I think, like with everything now, to keep shows going, and they've got to be thrifty and they've got to run smoothly. I mean, Gloria back in the day, they were throwing money around. I mean, allegedly, they always said, well, daytime pays for all of nighttime's mistakes. So when we were getting 10 million viewers on General Hospital in the heyday, they had money, and they had time to if Gloria wanted to come out and reshoot the scene, restage the scene, and do. I remember Wes Kenny when he was running the show, and he would come out and he said, let's let it rip one more time. And it was like, well, Wes, we've done the scene 7 times. I don't
Right.
see it getting any better. So all you have back, what we had back then was the luxury of doing it again. That luxury is kind of gone. So it's kind of, let's get those fenders hung. Let's get to the door guy. Let's get those lights on, and let's get this car produced today. So, it's a real difference. It's just, you've got to be a soldier of fortune. You got to go up to that stage and hit it. The first pack, you got to take it right out of the park. You got to go in, cut a throat, and get out behind enemy lines. You're like a soldier of fortune on a soap.
Is that more exciting though as an actor, to go in, got to do it, and get, it's like the play, one night only, go in, do it. Is that more exciting?
I find, yes. I personally say, why don't you roll in the rehearsal? Because if we get it in the rehearsal, we don't need another take. But, they don't like to do that because they want the camera people to, see it one time. But, we did that on As the World Turns. We did it so fast there back, 15 years ago that, they were cranking it out there too, because they had to be done by 5. So it was go, 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 go. And in fact, that was Chris Goutman's name, Go Go Goutman, because
that's right.
Yeah, because it was go. Let's go. We got to go.
Oh, gotta go. Yeah. So when you look at how you've played Scott, do you like going there? Like when we get to see him really emotionally gutted? Because I love when you play that, because it just breaks me, or do you just want to, or do you prefer like, let me keep it light. Let me keep him.
No, you know what? I always idolized as a young actor, Jack Lemmon, and Jack Lemmon had the ability to go, especially in the movie The Apartment, from comedy to drama. And if you can just keep, you don't want to go into buffoondom, but if you can keep it light, but also you get thrown a pothole and you go, oh my God, I got to deal with this. And then it gets heavy. And then you deal with that. Or then it's going to go lighten up. I mean, I dealt with the death of Franco, and next thing I know, I'm now doing light, fun, campy stuff with Kathleen. And I think that General Hospital's its success to me was based on the camp factor of what we had. We had the Quartermains, we had, Tristan and Tony. We had, Scotty and Heather were up to no good. Scotty and Lucy. So you want the kind of banter and camp that some of these soaps really need. They all thrived on that. I mean, even the dynasties and all of that.
Oh yeah,
So
sure.
I think it's crucial to keep these shows with colorful characters. I mean, you can't get any more colorful than Kathleen Gati or More West, for that matter. I mean, when she can play Ava every which way but loose, and so that's crucial, I think. And if you can get mixed up in that kind of fun and shenanigans, there's no better place to be.
So what happens when you're walking around Fort Lauderdale or in LA? I mean, do you get people stopping you all the time? And what do these fans, what do they say to you? What do people say to you most about you or Scott or?
Well, they say the same thing. I've been watching you since I was a kid. And then they start talking about, how, they skip classes. And I say, well, don't,
Skip classes.
If it's a waiter and he says that, I say, well, I hope you're not blaming me that you're miseducation now that you're a waiter because you were skipping classes. I'm sorry. You might have set out to be a doctor, but you skipped to a class to watch General Hospital. I said, I'm certainly not taking the rap for that. But you know what I was realizing today, that all of these Brad Pitts and these guys must be in hog heaven right now, because with the masks on and sunglasses, nobody knows who anybody is. So everybody is moving around quietly if they want to without I would imagine, I mean, the real famous people, they got people hounding them all the time. I mean, how would you like to be Brad Pitt? He's not going anywhere.
Never.
Johnny Depp, all those guys, they're under the gun.
So when you look at then, what would you like to see happen for him moving forward? Obviously, we know he's got this romance to do with Obrecht.
With Obrecht.
With Obrecht.
She's very specific about the T at the end of her name.
Obrecht. That's
Obrecht.
right. Yes.
I said that to her once, Obrecht, and she's not Obrecht.
Obrecht. Obviously, he's got that. But do you want him to drive?
Saw you.
Oh, there was a guest.
Do you want my brother walk by?
My brother Will. Do you want Scott to drive Story again? Would you like
every actor on General Hospital is there to drive a story. That is always, if you've been there, you know what driving story is. And if you've been there and no driving story, then it's night and day. I just finished a run of driving story, and it was quite pleasing, to really get back in the game and know that there is something. You're not, this is not just a one shot only. And we'll see it. We haven't seen Scott for a while. There he is. There he goes. So it's been fun to drive story. Yes.
Do you have in your career on the show, do you have just a moment or two that were just the best for you to play? Like you just always over the years, just like, I don't care if it was on any of the shows, that you just thought, oh, this was so good and I'm proud.
Well, the Dominique storyline was written by a guy, a writer, Tom Citrano, who had lost his sister to cancer. So he kind of played, and Wendy Rich was producing the show, and she said, yes, let's go for every beat possible of what goes on. So because that was such a thorough storyline, from her realizing she's never going to be able to have a baby, but wanting a baby, and then giving it to Lucy to carry, and then, not being able there to see or she did see the baby. And then, so it was very emotional to play, because it was, every day it was like, oh my God, this is a tough one today. So that was a very meticulously thought out story. And when you get something like that, beat by beat, that's a fun thing. But then it's just the opposite. If you had a caper story that involved, if Ava and I were involved with trying to do something which we've done before, trying to get her out of jail or whatever, that's just as satisfying too. If it's fun and games and it's becomes screwball comedy. You go from like a screwball comedy instead of a heavy melodrama, you know. I'll take it, you know, it comes on the plate. What are we serving up today? As long as there's something on that plate.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, you commented on a lot of your co-stars. What could you say about working with Jackie Zeman and Lynn Herring? What do you think about those two?
Well, Lynn is capable of, she already knows where I'm going. And so she's like the perfect dance partner. She knows exactly how to go. She talks fast like I do. She knows the pace. She knows that comedy works best when it's well paced and it's, you know, boom, 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 you know, like Nick and Nora Charles from The Thin Man. So she's really right there, where like Jackie is better for drama. I mean, she's very, you know, she can be like Genie, you know, she can play those dramatic beats just like Genie is, you know. And so that's the difference between the two of them, you know, depending on which way you want to go, you know.
Yeah. So how has life been for you this past year during the pandemic? How have you been? Has it been daunting for you? Has it been stressful? Have you been fine, like getting through it? Like a lot, because a lot of people have had a lot of emotional stress with it. Or have you been good?
Well, you know, none of us knew what to make of it, and then all of a sudden, you know, GH is shut down for 4 months, and next thing you know, you're going to the grocery store, but you shouldn't be going. And everybody says, why would you go every day? And I'd say, well, I have to get out of the house, and, you know, and well, you shouldn't. And so there's so many shoulds and shouldn't do's. And there were so many, you know, shame on you for doing this. And you thought, well, I'm just coping with it the way everybody else is, you know. Yes. Should I be going to Gelson's 6 days a week? Probably not. But I then developed a way to say, you know what, I'm going to be a better cook. I'm going to cook more. I'm going to enjoy, I think, you know, happy hour got moved up an hour or two. So, you know, and then I think we all realized that, I think we all put on about 10 pounds. And then it came back, and then everything opened, and then everything shut down again. But then you're back to the same kind of thing, but except we were still working. So then you were still going to work at General Hospital with the COVID testing and everything. So, you know, do we want these shots? Yes, I guess we have to have them, but we don't know anything about them. But, you know, people will give you that speech again. Well, they will prevent you from ending up on a ventilator. And you say, well, okay, then I guess. And Michael, once you're there and you get it, it was the easiest thing in the world. I just made it to be such a huge ordeal because I get it. Where am I going to get it? Who's got it? And how am I going to get it? Yes, I haven't gotten it yet. Damn it. But I know you're in Florida. You should be getting it. And, you know, so that's over.
So your advice, not over. Right. But your advice to people would be just get it.
Take the shot and take it and say, okay, you know, it's not, some people think that they have diplomatic immunity, you know, like the guy in Mel Gibson's Lethal Weapon, that he said, no, I do, you know, do I feel any better that I'm now, you know, in a week, I'll have more resistance to COVID, I guess, but I'm not, you know, going to pull my mask off at that gym. I'm still going to mask it down because, you know, I mean, if I'm in an outdoor intimate outside, I'm not going near crowds, you know, for now. So right. I think we're all still, you know, under that gun.
Dealing with it. And yeah, that makes sense. But, and yeah, when you guys got to go back, it was great that all the soaps, you know, did figure out a way to go back into production. You know, being part of General Hospital legacy of the show, do you still must have these pinch yourself moments, right? Like, this has been cool, right? Like, it's gotta have been cool, even through the ups and the downs. That it's
you know, I still sit on the set and I still look around and I will go out and I'll look at the door where Genie and I started the other stage, and I'll remember, almost see these two young kids that came running out to their new cars that they got because they were on a soap opera, and I got a green Corvette convertible and Genie got a little yellow Fiat, and you know, we were still live on tape. It was shot at 2 to 2:45, and you know, and it was, you know, and I look at that doors and I remember it like it was yesterday, but yet, you know, it's not. It's 44 years ago. So,
I mean, Genie has really become, you know, such a dynamo actress from, you know, younger to where she's just
yeah.
become, you know, it's been amazing just to see that journey and yours. And I think that's why people relate to you guys and to you, because they, like you said, they followed you all the way from when you were younger through all of your kind of adult life.
Well, but that's what I always say is like, when you go to see Rocky 7, the minute Stallone comes on, there's Rocky. So the minute I walk into a scene with Genie, it's, well, there's Scotty and Laura. We don't even have to act.
That's right. We're just like, it's Scotty and Laura.
Stallone doesn't have to do anything.
Right.
Or he can step right into Rambo too. There's Rambo. There's Rocky. So
it's just seeing them in that.
Yeah.
Seeing you there.
You know, when it's something that is familiar to these fans that have been watching for all these years, and, you know, keeping the history of Scotty and Laura still somewhat alive in different ways, you know. So yeah, it's always fun. You know, if I know I'm going to be working with Genie, I know that that the fans will be pleased that they're together, and, you know, depending on what they're doing, you know, and I'm sure that the fans would love to try and have me break up her marriage to John Lindstrom, Kevin. Kevin. So, I mean, that would be fun to do. I mean, if the writers ever get bored, they don't really need to get bored. They can just always come up with, there's enough history.
There's so much history. Yeah.
As I said, history hanging around there that they could just open that history book anytime and just write it, you know?
And is your hope that when Roger comes back that he's related to Scotty? Would you like that?
Yeah, but I don't know how they could do that.
I don't know how they could do that.
I you know, I don't know anything about how he's coming back, or even if it's, you know, Todd Manning from one. I don't know. Did he already came back as Todd and then that didn't work? I mean, again, nobody knows anything.
Right. I think the people always think the actors know everything, but they don't.
The actors know the least.
That's what I'm saying. The actors know the least. I think there's a pervasive thing with the audience that, the actors know what's happening. And I go, no, they don't. Yes. And I think over time, it's gotten worse, like more locked down. They know less and less.
Yes, I played an entire scene with Genie Francis a couple weeks ago, and she said, Ken, I have no idea what this scene is about. And I said, well, I'm not quite sure either, but I think I think I have to drive this scene because it's more about getting to the bottom of the Franco mess. So, but she didn't really know what I was talking about when I started talking about, you know, what's his name and you know, crazy stuff, you know. And it's you know, soap opera actors say, well, that's just exposition, and somebody's got to put it out there. So you've got to make what is exposition interesting as well. Otherwise, you know, you just,
right.
You know.
Right. All right. Well, Ken, thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing this upcoming episodes with you and Obrecht.
Yes.
And what happens with that.
It'll be fun.
That'll be fun. And it's always, I love your work. I've always been such a huge rah-rah for your work, because I think
you, Michael.
Really,
so
really
nice.
one of a kind is what I think. It's one of a kind, and it's unique, and you play it all so beautifully. And I either laugh, I'm touched, or like you said, I can't wait to see Scott and Laura. You know, so all of that is wrapped into it. So bravo to you for.
Hey, Michael, I watched your video. You know, you got some singing talent there, you know?
Thank you. I have a new song coming out in April, which I can't wait for everybody to hear.
Okay.
So in the studio. Yeah.
Is that that's your number one?
That's my number one. Yeah. I started out as a singer-songwriter in my career, and I realized I was missing fulfilling that. Right. And so I started to write again and track songs, and I've been putting songs out on Apple Music and Spotify and music videos. And it's really what, you know, we all have our deep passion. Like, you're an actor, you know, like I always felt I was a singer.
Right.
You know?
Well, you are a singer.
I feel that was my what I was given, like
Right.
God gave me something and I could sing, and I didn't want more time in life to go by without doing it. So
Well, that's terrific that you're follow the dream.
follow the dream. All right, Ken. Well, this was so great to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking some time while you're down there in Fort Lauderdale and talking to me about General Hospital and your life on it and all of that. And we can't wait to see more scenes with Scott and Obrecht and what's happening coming up on GH. So have a great day. Thank you so much.
Okay, as they say in the soap world, stay tuned. Okay.
Stay tuned.
All right, Good luck with that shot. All right. Keep me posted. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.